Okay, what is up, my friends? Welcome to another video. And yes, in this video, I think I'm going to unfortunately talk about the overall lack of leadership that we're seeing with the protests, with the riots. We're going to talk about that a little bit. We're going to talk about the Confufu virus and really just a lot of what's going on. And like, I don't want to be the guy making videos like this. But when I look around and I see the blue check marks and I see the influencers on Instagram all just being sheep, all not having an opinion of their own, all not really contributing fuck all to you, it drives me to do videos like this. And it, to a degree, it makes me wish I had more influence because I would not be behaving the way a lot of these people are. I mean, when you have VCs, when you have influencers with millions of people of reach, hundreds of millions of dollars of access, and you have them posting a fucking black square for Blackout Tuesday on social media, that sums up the state of affairs pretty well, doesn't it? While there are small businesses burning to the ground, they're posting a black square. They are contributing to GoFundMes and organizations that are bailing out the protesters. The only issue is that you don't know if it's a protester or a looter or a violent person who handed out motifs or what they did. You have no idea. So much brave, so much courage. I can't fit it into enough sentences, okay? So let's start at the beginning, though. Let's talk through this because I think there's not enough people like looking at... I want to look at both sides of this, okay? What I mean by that is right now it's very easy to be like you're either feeling extreme guilt as a white person, as a person of color, as an American, as somebody that is not the race or creed of the tragedy that just occurred with George Floyd. You're either on that side, so a lot of what you're going through is based on guilt and fear. Or you're on the side, and this side tends to be more Democrat driven, and then this side tends to be more Trump driven. Bring in the military, light them up. Let's get things back in law and order. Is there a right side? Of course not. There's something to be taken away from both. And this is a main concept that you've always heard me talk about, which is that with a religious practice, with a an institution, person, is take what you like and drop the rest. And you don't have to be a loyal follower, devotee of especially famous people. That's one that I never understood, is that why do you need you need to be told what to do by somebody who however they got their money, however they got their influence. The fact that you need to be told how to think and what to do and how you should be feeling right now from somebody who's got a social media presence is pathetic, to say the least. And if we want to talk about in terms of patheticism, I can only imagine how God and aliens, whatever you want to believe in, the creators, are looking down on us right now, and just saying like, my God, you have lost your way. And this is what hurts. This is the part that hurts about it. And I think we can all agree on this, is like when we like devolve into animals and animalistic tendency and basic pecking order stuff, and we're in the streets fighting, it creates this disgusting feeling. I don't know if you share that or if that's just like a me thing. That's fine too. But it creates this feeling like it's just like, out of all the options, out of all of the opportunities, out of all the choices, all the paths, all the potential outcomes, this is what we chose? Anyways, let's start at the beginning. So I want to look at this through a couple different lenses, but one that I think is really, really impactful that a lot of people aren't really paying attention to, is because they're letting themselves be led by mainstream media, is let's just put our feet in the shoes of the president for a second. Not Republican, not Democrat, being the president of the United States of America. You've got the greatest economy. And was it overstated to a degree? Yes, I think so. The data definitely backed it up. It was the greatest economy in at least the last 30, 40 years. Probably was 50. Okay? Best unemployment in the last 50 years. Those are data point driven facts. Were they overstated and did it get annoying hearing it all the time and they were just turned into talking points? Yes. But they were also factually driven. Just imagine you're a guy who comes in, and I don't know. See, there's so much details we don't know, and I'm going to set those off to the side. I'm going to just go with what we know of, because I'm not the president. I'm not in the cabinet. I don't have purview to those conversations, okay? I don't have access to those conversations and to know the real nuts and bolts of who's doing it or what's actually occurring behind the scenes. So we're going to just set those off to the side, but got the best economy. You came in, you kicked ass, and it hasn't been easy. Like, you face this narrative and this message and these media pundits who media is part of the problem in all of this. Even right now, they're helping fuel the destruction. They're fueling this, and they want this to keep going. Okay, and lots of theories flying as to why. But you're up against the media every day. Every day, every time you do a press brief and you take questions, the same dumb shit over and over and over for 3 years. You fight impeachment. You fight, now Russia hoax, the Mueller investigation. Just, have we ever gotten an apology, by the way, for the American people from MSNBC, where they had Rachel Maddow for 3 years talking about this as if it was absolute definitive truth? And it turned out that it wasn't. Did we ever get an apology? Like, is there any accountability at all? No? Okay, so that might be fueling some hostility, some against the system thought process, right? So you got all that. You beat the Russia stuff. You beat the Mueller stuff. You beat the impeachment, and then and it's still the greatest economy. And then all of a sudden, mystery virus comes in, and you go on this like barrage. You go on this like warpath of who knows how many hours a day he was working. I would estimate it's somewhere between 16 and 18, because there was a lot of shit that was getting done in a very small amount of time. So, normal day though, 12-hour day. Normal 12-hour day, maybe more, and you're working your ass off. You're coordinating with, you're trying to change quickly FDA policies. You're trying to change CDC policies. You're working up against the WHO, who we all know now was working deeply in cahoots with China to slow roll the numbers out and blah, 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 blah. Okay, so you're working up against agencies. You're working up against another political party. And you're working with all these other branches and organizations and three-letter agencies to rush out 2 ships on the one on the LA coast and one on the New York eastern coast, okay? And you do that, and now you're fighting this thing, and you start doing these daily briefings where you're barely getting any sleep. You're working with all these, agencies and coordination, blah, blah, blah. You're still facing up against the media who's trying to, like, get you in a got a moment every single day. The same dumb shit every single day, okay? You're up against that. You've now printed and made trillions of dollars, okay, $3, $4, $7 trillion of stimulus, pump it into the economy. You completely revamp the SBA. You completely revamp some of these different agencies. You change the Fed's role, the Treasury, all this coordination. We pump trillions of dollars into the economy. And on opening day for some of these businesses, we finally worked with the CDC, and we finally now work to get these guidelines and 3-4 phase approach rolled out. You've worked tirelessly with annoying governors who don't know how to run their state, who have no clue how to run a business, and they are trying to score political points on you right, left, and center. You've gotten through all that, and on opening day for small business average Joe, his business gets burned down to the fucking ground. Let that sink in. Let that sink in. From the president's eyes, he's finally turning the corner. The economy actually did have a great shot. It had a great shot. With one more stimulus bill in the lineup, like, it's going to be rough, but quarter 3, quarter 4 was turning out to be pristine. And on, like, opening day, 3 days after, 3 days is all it took. And now we have so much of the United States getting burned down to the ground, and a refueling of this fake race war. Okay, I will give you the insider secret here to all of this. The goal from one party, I don't care what your political affiliation is, there's one group, one sect of people on this planet right now who wants to destroy humanity. They want to destroy us. They want to divide us. They've been lying to us. They want to fuel the riots. They want to fuel the chaos. I don't know why. I don't care why. But you are a blind idiot if you don't see that. And now they push out the riots. And I hate that they're once again using race as the bait. But let's really think about this thing for a second. Who is once again losing? The same people who are out in the streets peacefully protesting. There's two groups here. Riot, looting, protesting. These people represent a noble, honorable thing. There is a problem in the police districts across America, which that's even an interesting thread to go into, which maybe I'll touch a little bit into that. I'm trying to see like how deep do I want to go, because we could get into some really wild theories, and this could definitely like completely scrap and destroy my channel too. Should I care? I don't know. Okay, so anyways, these people will lose the worst. Why, Jay? Well, let's think about it. They've been closed down for 2 months, 3 months, 4 months. They're finally just now starting to open up their doors. Maybe they did get lucky and get some of that PPP money. Now their shit's destroyed and looted. Maybe they got insurance, maybe they don't. But the guy in the street protesting is the guy who's once again getting fucked. The rioters and looters, they're not. They're pulling up in their Mercedes. They're being orchestrated by whatever group you want to label them. Not even going to say the word, okay? The SMEFAs, okay? Whoever they're being organized by, Soros, doesn't really matter. But they are instigating these people and even acting as these people to get these people to look like they are the bad guys. But in actuality, these are the people getting fucked once again. Because now their small businesses are getting destroyed. You've seen the videos of white, black, orange, yellow, blue, purple people crying on their knees. My business has been destroyed. Please don't do this to my business. You've seen elderly women, young people getting beat. We've had loss of life now. We've had loss of police officers. We've had loss of innocent life. Okay? And then there's like this whole like group of people now that are emerging out of this, which are all these lost souls with mommy and daddy issues who just think this is a video game and it's like free reign. And those videos are surfacing. And so to touch back on like my issue and why I'm driven to make a video like this is because when I saw this guy Brad Feld, who's like this big investor. He's out of Colorado. You know, he's supposed to be this hero. You know what he posts today? He posts some dumb shit that was a repost of Ben and Jerry's from his TweetDeck. From his TweetDeck account. He can't even craft these words himself. He has to send it out to his automated third-party bullshit to make it look like he cares. All these influencers who post the black box, they don't give a fuck about you. When are you going to realize that? When are you going to wake up and stop looking to these people for answers? Stop giving them authority because they don't have any. They don't have answers because they too don't think for themselves. They're easily manipulated. They are weak and they have done nothing but siphon money out of your fucking pocket for years and years and years. The Jake Pauls, the models, the fitness YouTubers, all these fucking retards don't actually have answers. Because if they did, they would be out doing it. And see, this makes me and drives me to want to like do things that actually help small business. So I'll give you some examples. Like if they actually cared, what could they do? Well, how about we put up a big fund of money and we raise money to not just rebuild the small businesses who have now been negatively affected, but also to train them and show them from marketers and VCs like Brad, right? Who could have easily just said like, yo, why don't I just start doing like free online workshops showing people how to get money from VCs? Why don't I show people and bring together with my resources and my influence all of these leaders, these thought leaders and these professionals and these experts at building business, getting your business to look properly, run properly, and then get it funded? Why don't I bring together all my friends? These are his friends. Why don't I bring them together and do free online stuff right fucking now? Nothing from Brad, but we do get an automated TweetDeck post from him. Oh, thank you so much brave, so much courage. I just don't know what to do with myself. I'm overwhelmed. Thank you, sir. And that's what we keep seeing. And then The unfortunate side of it is we have complete losers like Jake Paul, Logan Paul out there actually in the streets. Logan wasn't, Jake was. In the streets actually looting and rioting and then pretending they weren't. You've got a bunch of... So what's the underlying issue here? You've got a bunch of confused and lost kids, man. You've got a bunch of people with mommy and daddy issues. But the thing is that they, in the sense that they think that they're going through so much and that they've suffered, they haven't. Because we've all had stuff happen to us. We've all had fucked up shit happen to us when we were a kid. Okay? We've all got traumas. That shouldn't be something that like divides us and drives us to go and like behave in animalistic ways. It should bring us together and just say like, hey, we can hug this out because we're all fucked up. And we're all just trying to figure this out. And we can come together in solidarity as one unified thing. And what are we seeing instead? We're seeing a further division. We're seeing, yes, white supremacy is a problem. No, it's not. The problem is the people trying to point that out and pin that against. We have real fundamental issues, okay, which I wasn't going to bring up this thread, but I'll point you in a direction. The ex-co-founder of Wikipedia, Larry Slander, I think is his last name, points out in a very long thread on Twitter all the interesting correlations. George Floyd worked with the police officer for many, many years. There's another coincidental person involved in this who their business burned down to the ground in those riots. So there's a lot of interesting coincidences happening with just the whole storyline and a narrative. How many times was that police officer in trouble? 14 to 16 times he had been talked to and written up. I mean, these are fundamental issues that are leading from not white supremacy issues, but from corruption issues within police departments, and issues within the organizations themselves, which that is an infrastructure problem. And we have those infrastructure problems everywhere. Because if we want to say, okay, wait a second, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe there is a white supremacy issue. And there it is right there. Then isn't there an Shmanifa issue happening at the college campuses? I mean, dig into this stuff. There is this like apparent free reign of this organization that they are allowed to get together and do rallies on college campuses, which they are grabbing up young influential minds who are already hurt and damaged because mom and dad have been working 2 jobs their whole life, and there's all these character actual issues, and they're latching onto that into minority groups and all this identity politics stuff, and they're now latching onto that to create this weird kind of modern identity socialism. And I heard that word this morning, so I'm going to steal it, okay? And because I believe that that's kind of what's going on. And it's really just like a bunch of victims from all different kinds of shit. They're now saying, hey, you're weak and you're hurting. We're hurting too. Come break some shit with us. And that's what that's kind of turned into. And it's a very violent group. I don't care what anyone says. And is that the only group that's been involved in these riots? No, of course not. Don't be stupid. And of course it's going to be spun into a talking point, which is the biggest shame of the whole thing, is because it actually is a real problem. But so in the same way that, let's say, WS is a problem over here, well then isn't Shmanifa a problem over there on all the college campuses that it gets free reign on? So what we're talking about is infrastructure issues, correct? Now, excuse me, nobody can deny that there has been fundamental issues throughout time with race, color, gender. These are all real issues, and we need to create some sort of system to get past that. I don't think reparations are the answer. I think getting people together and getting help for these people. Like, what I mean by help is getting through the traumas, recognizing and realizing that it shouldn't hold you back. It should drive you forward. It should move you forward. As we've seen with so many success stories of entrepreneurs and famous successful people all over the planet, is that the hardship and the adversity allows us to get to the diamond and allows us to, hone that into a perfectly shaped masterpiece that can then be given to the world. So your traumas and your experiences can be this negative thing that hold you down, and then you can complain about it and you can blame everybody else, and we can get all mad about it. We can go riot, loot, and kill people over it. Or we can say, well, these things have happened. I don't like them. I need to come to a level of acceptance with these things and move on so that I can create something positive out of this. So then I can talk about my story and I can share my story. Where's that in this conversation? That's not being facilitated. Instead, we're hearing on CNN that these are fair, just people, okay? And they're not. Protesters are, looters aren't. We have funds being set up from, the connection on the Democratic side to actually bail out people that they don't know why they got arrested to begin with. We've got social constructs and social fabrics and social contracts being broken and the trust being invalidated. We've got some serious issues going on. There's an erosion happening. So back to one of my points, which was like, gee, why did this happen? Well, you've got, let's just look at one demographic. Let's look at a younger demographic. What have they experienced? They've experienced the 2009 financial crisis. They've experienced the Occupy Wall Street movement. They've experienced mom and dad who are probably never home, unfortunately, and in general I'm speaking, who are never home, and they've kind of had to raise themselves. They were raised on social media, raised with these fake influencers, okay? And now they got to see a global pandemic. They were locked up for 2 months, and like, talk about not liking, not trusting the system and wanting to see it all burn down to the ground. And then you have this invitation that just magically appears right after Corona conversation is all of a sudden gone. And they say, hey, I got an outlet for you. So is anyone else seeing the coincidence to all of this? It's like perfect. And all of it happening in an election year. And so regardless, and so my whole Trump story, my whole Trump being in the president's shoes. Now imagine if you did know. Let's just say it comes out, which we had a German government document released the other day, basically state that it was extremely overstated. It was a false alarm, and that the numbers and the models versus the reality don't match up. And there's some people asking why. We have the Lancet study, which was which was basically chopping down the malaria drug usage in the COVID-19 scenario. And so that study is under serious fire now. And they tried to basically hire an outside agency to audit them. But how are you going to trust the company to hire an agency to audit the company when the company itself has now been busted for falsifying that data? So they lied. So science now lied to us. The people that we were told to listen to and trust and believe, the science, the doctors, the Faucis, lied. Okay? Lancet lied. And so you have that just happened. This German internal government document gets released. And you have a lot of people questioning, well, why did Neil Ferguson's model fail us? Why was it so wrong? 2 million people, 100,000 people. Look what we all just gave up. And it's like, we just gave all that up so easily, but then all of a sudden we just throw it away to go riot and be obviously closer than 6 foot away from each other. So now social distancing is out the window. Masks are still on the table, but social distancing is out the window. The lockdowns are out the window, but the gyms are still closed, and the small businesses are still asking to be closed. Like, look at the amount of insanity going on right now. And it's no wonder why people are choosing to just say, fuck it, and go out into the streets. It's not a shocker here, guys. It's not a shocker why this is all happening. And the thing that I just don't like is you don't have anyone giving answers. You have a lot of talk. Oh, we understand. We're empathetic. Shut up. Where are the answers to this? How about we just start a nationwide investigation into all the police departments? Yes, it's going to take time. Yes, it's going to take a long time. Okay? But I thought the 3-letter agencies were also supposed to support and help and protect the people from those sorts of issues. Why don't we go in and just start looking at who's got a ton of violent marks on their record? Why don't we sit them down with a psychiatrist or two, and let's see what's going on in their brain, and let's see if they should actually be out in the field. How do we then support and bring in new people into these systems in the right ways? How do we give them the support and the training and the education they need? So you see, it all comes back to infrastructure, not race. Not race, no. But the race is the cheap way out. The race is the surface level. Yeah, that's the bad guy. When what we need to do is dig deeper. There's a deep structure to everything. This is not the first time I'm saying this. And that's what we need to look at. So anyways, just imagine if you now knew that I started on one tangent, led into another. Just imagine now if it comes out, Okay, I don't have an opinion on this, as you know. If it comes out that the whole thing was, it's coming out that the Confufu was conflated. But what if it was more than that? And there's a thread now starting to emerge and poke its head that it did originate in a lab. In Australia's study, doctors proved that how it operates in the human body proves that it's not a naturally organic thing. So it did start from a lab. So now we have proof of that, in case we didn't before. But now just imagine if it does come out and let's say this administration did know that this was let out, man-made, done on purpose. Oh my God, shock. Let's imagine if that was done, okay? And then let's imagine if there is an organization or a group behind these riots, facilitating them, well organizing these things. How many stories have we heard now of people being arrested from out of state? Why would you travel to another state to loot and riot? You know, that's a federal offense now, too. So now imagine if that came out and you, as the president, knew all of this. How mad would you be? Like, I give that guy credit every day that he doesn't come on national television and just spill the beans on all the shit he knows. All the shit he knows that's going on. And he has to, like, come on camera and play pretend and, like, behave in a way that he doesn't know what's going on. And, like, oh, we're just, we're on this journey of unfolding and figuring out together. I give him credit just for that. I give every president credit for that. The amount of shit that they learn when they walk into that position. But yeah, just like look at everything that's been up against that, right? And now look at all the blue check marks and the influencers and the famous people who are using this as an opportunity to create further divide politically. Should that be really what we're focused on right now? Again, if they're claiming in one breath that it's all about this problem we have, but then using that to score points and say that's the bad guy, that's the people we blame. Is that really doing justice? Is that really actually serving the narrative and the outcome and result we claim we want? Of course it's not. So anyways, these are my thoughts. Now, I want to end this with something positive. I wrote this and sent this out yesterday. This is a free email. You can go and subscribe. It's just empirealerts.substack.com. And I don't own this site. The Substack is the email service. Subscribe to them, and you'll get these free macro emails all the time, and just kind of different thought type emails. We usually don't dive into politics in these emails. I don't like to do that in this. I really want this to be about, and the whole Empire community was created to help you build your own sovereign empire. Because what is the most important thing out of all of this? What is the biggest takeaway that we've got out of this? How important is it for you to have a plan for you, a plan for your family, and to have your own empire? And what I mean by empire is your own sovereign business structure network that largely can go unaffected by events like this, like the riots, like the global pandemic, like the bailouts. And you can still operate. That is the most important thing I think that we should all be focused on. And everything in front of us is just noise. And it all points back to the importance of having these things set up. Because check this out. I had a better version of this. I don't know where it went. It's in one of my older files somewhere because I just cleaned everything out. And of course I lost what I had before. But let's zoom in on this. And what this shows is diverging fortunes from the great financial crisis of 2009. Now, we know this happens. This happens all the time. In every crisis and every big issue like what we see now back to back to back, there is a divergence that happens. The poor get poorer and the rich get richer. Now, rich it's still actually not that much money. But again, we'll save that for another time. Mental blocks, assumptions, and expectations that we put on ourselves a lot of times keep us poor, okay? So anyways, this isn't just like, again, this doesn't need to reinforce this like eat the rich message. There's good and bad in every group. There's good and bad in every organization. There's good and bad in every social class, okay? So my point by showing this is simply that, it's not always that the rich get richer. It's that they have a better plan, so they do get richer. They have a better plan. They have better resources. They have better access than the rest of us, okay? And that can all change. That can all change with a plan. That can all change with doing different things that you know You now know. There's enough of it talked about for free all over the internet that you know work versus what you're doing. So at what point do we start to question our plan and say, gosh, here we are again at the outcome I didn't want. When am I going to change? When am I going to do something different to hopefully, maybe, possibly get a different outcome? Otherwise, we're just another statistic on this chart. We must think differently. Bitcoin in 2017 was thinking differently. Bitcoin in 2013 was thinking differently. Bitcoin in 2020 is still, to a degree, thinking differently. And it doesn't take a lot. You don't have to be an Einstein. You don't have to be super smart. But we do have to behave differently. And we do have to act differently. And right now, I'll tell you what's not going to move you forward. What's not going to move you forward is getting race baited into these bullshit conversations. What's actually going to move you forward and what's actually going to help humanity, if you want to go that route, is change itself. If you have access to a network of people who can help these small business owners learn Facebook ads, learn how to build websites, learn how to make Instagram photos, learn how to do these things, go out and start doing that for free. Go out and start helping these communities rebuild. That is what I would love to see these influencers doing. Demand from your influencers, from the people that you give money to and you've supported for years and years and years, demand that they are giving options like this. They're suggesting ideas like this. Because that's what's actually going to create change. The business owner that can now get money and he has access to an ad platform that he can go and make money with and drive people back into his business, or go and use it to create his own GoFundMe or whatever he needs to do. He now has the tools to completely change his life, does he not? So it's not enough to just say, we need change, black box, yay, I'm so brave. No, we need to instead do. Actions. Thoughts, actions. Thoughts, actions. Always comes back to that. Anyways, 30 minutes. I'll shut up. If you resonate with this, if you like this at all, share it out. Like it, comment below if you've got something to say. And if you feel I'm missing something, cool. Share it below. And how about we start to just like do these things that we know will help, that we know will make change in the communities. And through that, over time, we all are empowered. The goal here is we need to be empowered. Not disempowered, disconnected from God, divided against each other. We need to be together as one. And we don't do that through this path. Okay, I know for a fact that this path, this route we're going on, and all the bickering that's occurring is taking us further away. Let's move closer to that. Okay, thank you so much. Love you guys. See ya.